Hey, what's up? Welcome to the show. My little vlog, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Still trying to figure that part out, right? But we're gonna be talking about some news here. This is a technology channel. Sometimes we talk about some fun stuff like Elon Musk's new racist AI, and then we're also gonna talk about some more serious stuff like Cisco's new max severity CVE. Let's read through this article here. I'll try to make this quick. I know you got stuff to do, unless you just enjoy hearing the smooth baritones of my voice, in which case, thank you for tuning in. Anyways, CVE 2025 20337. This is a max severity critical vulnerability. It affects Cisco Identity Service Engine, Cisco ISE Passive Identity Connector. Basically, this severity allows for remote code execution. So what exactly is the issue? This new CVE was disclosed on July 17th, 2025, and it's related to an actual earlier CVE that was found in June, CVE 2025 20281, but it's actually a different one. So it's a different but somewhat related critical vulnerability that allows for remote code execution. So if you're running a Cisco stack, you might want to update your devices. I don't even know there's an update. So basically, this vulnerability affects the API for Cisco devices. Cisco didn't exactly code in the best user input validation. And what that means is people could slide code into the user input and run remote code on your Cisco devices. So if you're running Cisco ISE, you might want to update your devices. In the case of ISE 3.4, you're going to want to update to patch 2. And if you're running ISE 3.3, you're going to want to update to patch 6. I feel like vulnerabilities like these come out a lot, especially this year. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, on one hand, it's a good thing that we know about the vulnerabilities and that they got fixed and can be patched. But on the other hand, I feel like for how much Cisco charges for their software and hardware stack, vulnerabilities like these shouldn't be that common. You shouldn't have two critical vulnerabilities back to back within like a month of each other. And sure, maybe they're related to the same technologies, but at the exact same time, a lot of this could be fixed if you simply did further and more thorough testing. Because I feel like user input validation should be one of the very first things that get tested when you're deploying a critical network tool. So again, quick little article released by the registrar here. Please go ahead and feel free to visit that whenever you get a moment and read through the article yourself. I'm not sure how YouTube handles linking to third-party sites, so I might or might not link the article themselves in the YouTube description. We shall see. We shall see. I'm slowly starting to learn the rules of YouTube, which you think after 3 years I would know by now, but I definitely do not. A lot of times I realize I'm struggling with something and then I go and read the instructions and I'm like, the answer's right there, right there. But what can you do about it? All right. Story number 2, we're going to try to do about 3 of these a video. So Redditor fooled after asking chatgpt to make a children's illustration book over the course of 2 weeks. And when trying to download it, he realized that ChatGPT was hallucinating, aka lying to him. Let's read through this. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the AI, like human beings, will occasionally lie to you to convince you that it's done something that it is not. That's very human. So, before we get started, have you ever heard of the Chinese room? The idea of the Chinese room is that a computer running a program can trick you into thinking it understands what you mean by simply following the rules of said program. Something people don't realize is that language is a program. It's a predefined set of rules and standard that we use to communicate with one another. In the Chinese room theory, there is a person locked in a room. Inside of that room is a book of rules. That book of rules could be considered the program or the structure and definition of a language. The person in the room does not speak Chinese. He speaks only English. Chinese speaking people outside of the room slide questions under the door. The person inside of the room uses the rule book to look up how to respond with the correct Chinese characters, even though they don't understand what any of it means. The rules of the language allows him to respond back and pretend as if he understands what he's saying. AI chatbots are a lot like that. They're Chinese rooms. The simple fact that they communicate with you is a miracle of modern science. It's an illusion sold to you by big data. I know I make a lot of stories and I joke about Skynet coming alive and taking over the world, but AI doesn't work that way. It is a bunch of predefined conditions to create a rulebook or the large language models. And that rulebook or the weight of the large language models tells the chatbot how to respond to the input that you're sending to it. ChatGPT isn't actually speaking to you. It's a super advanced version of the Chinese room. It's a miracle that it even works, right? It's a miracle of mathematics. It's a miracle of engineering. It's a miracle of modern science and technology. But at the exact same time, we have to recognize that what we're looking at isn't true intelligence. A Redditor recently learned that when he tried to create a children's book over the course of 2 weeks using ChatGPT. So on this post, a Redditor going by the name Emotional Stranger 5 says he spent 16 days working with ChatGPT on an illustrated children's book and said it as a gift for some local kids. And ChatGPT has been telling Emotional Stranger over the past 2 weeks that it's been building a book, right? He's been asking it questions, prompting it about how the book's coming along. And it's been saying, is it going great? I've been working on this so fucking hard, bro. Turns out it had not. Now, of course, in the Reddit thread, people were roasting, trying to critique him for trying to push AI slop to poor innocent minds. I'm not sure if you recognize this, but depending on how you use AI, it could literally be making you stupider. You don't train the neurons in your brain how to think things through from beginning to end. Instead, the machine room, which is a fancy program that uses statistical analysis to see the probability of what exactly you want out of whatever you put into it. In summary, ChatGPT wasn't actually working on a 700-page book. And if you've actually used ChatGPT for anything serious, you start to realize that it has some very glaring limitations, right? When you try to use ChatGPT to solve very technical problems, and then it sends you commands that don't work inside of the interface that you're working on, you learn, oh, sometimes it's just wrong. And that's okay. You know, you shouldn't be going to ChatGPT for everything. It's good, but it is not as good as we think it is. Now, you give it another 20 years for them to develop and refine it and feed all of human data that's ever existed, right? And you give them more time to strap brain sensors to our head that can read our brain waves and our thoughts, then it might get somewhere. When the training data is the human mind itself, we might actually hit a point where we get super sentient AI. But until then, we might want to limit our own expectations on this. Anyways, fun article. Let me know what you think about a guy using ChatGPT to make a children's book and then getting upset when he couldn't download it. Honestly, I feel like that's a little bit of karma there. You know, if you're going to make a children's book and you're going to use chat, don't have it write the whole book for you. You're going to have it do the art. ChatGPT makes some very nice art if you know how to prompt it correctly. And if you're not an artist, that's a good way for you to get your story out there. If you wanted to, you could have it maybe write the story or critique the story. Be like, analyze these books and what makes them cool. Compare them to my own personal book, right? And let me know how I can improve it. ChatGPT is very good at stuff like that. What it's not good at is the human creative process of actually making something for you. So yeah, don't rely on ChatGPT for everything, boys. It's cool stuff, but it has its limits and you have to be aware of that. Let's talk about this Verge article. Peacock raising its prices by $3. Now, $3 might not sound like a lot, but it's not about the $3. It's about the principle. Do you want to know one of the reasons I stopped pirating music? That's because Spotify became available. And the cool thing about Spotify is I could give them $10 or $15 a month. And I would have a centralized place where I could play all my music across basically all my devices and enjoy a seamless user experience. For $15 a month, I felt like the service was worth it. Do you know why Netflix got so popular? In the early 2000s and 2010s, one of the most popular sites on the internet was the Pirate Bay. For those of you who remember the Pirate Bay, you might, Mr. Low Spec is old enough to remember the Pirate Bay. I've hit Unc status. I have people in my comment sections calling me Unc all the time, and I'm like, I guess I'm almost 30. I'm getting old as shit now, right? Back before Unc was Unc, he used to sail the digital seas. I used to pirate music. I used to pirate books. I used to pirate movies. I used to pirate TV shows. And I stopped pirating books because I realized I could just buy the books I wanted digitally on Amazon or have them shipped straight to my door. I stopped pirating video games because Steam was a convenient service that had sales. And I was like, you know what? I'll pay you the 10 or 20 bucks, right, to not have malware on my PC. I stopped pirating TV shows when Netflix first came out because when Netflix came out originally, it had a lot of the content that I wanted on Netflix. And if the American version of Netflix didn't have it, I could use a VPN and get the shows I wanted regardless. Nowadays, though, every streaming platform, every major movie and TV studio wants to release its own streaming service and nickel and dime you for it. There's Disney Plus, there's Netflix, there's Peacock, there's I don't even know. Does Fox have its own streaming service? I bet they do. Okay, everybody has their own streaming service. Everybody wants part of the streaming service pie, not even realizing that this lack of uniformity, this inability to let go of their private IP and take a smaller part of the cut so that they can all collectively get more money. Because let's be honest, who pays for Peacock? Who's giving them $10.99 a month? The only time I might do that is for South Park. Or you know what? I can pirate South Park. I'm retired, not disabled. Okay? But yeah, Peacock is raising its, and you know, Peacock's owned by NBC Universal. They're raising their cost from $7.99 to $10.99 a month for its ad version. So you're paying $10 or $11 a month to still see ads. The greed of these corporations. It's one thing for me to give you $10 a month. It's another thing for me to give you $10 a month and then you still throw ads into the service. Either give it to me for free and give me a fuck ton of ads, or take my money and give me an ad-free service. You can't have it both ways, and they want it both ways. They're so greedy. Always it's something with them. Always it's more and more and more. Open your wallet and let us. It's wild. Anyways, let me know what you think about these stories in the comments section down below. Let me know what you think about the new format / old format, kind of bringing stuff back. We mix things up a little bit, bringing them back again, right? What is old is new, and what is new is old. Drop your comment down below. If you like this content, please go ahead and hit the like button. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Right, and we'll tune back in, and I'll see you next time where there's more interesting stuff to talk about.